Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Thursday, the 4th day of September, 2025, Thursday of the 22nd week of the year, 22nd week in Ordinary Time. It is also 1 month until the great feast of our patron, St. Francis of Assisi. So on this Thursday of the 22nd week of the year, Colossians continues. And there are some who will say that Colossians, the Church of Colossae, again along the coast of the Aegean in Greece, was one of the favorite early communities, early Christian communities of Paul. And it kind of comes out a little bit in the letter that Paul writes to them, commending them on their on their faith and of their work in the faith, and that God continues to work in them, and they should recognize this and rejoice in it, and not lose hope in what God is revealing to them, in the work that God is doing, in their midst, and that is a wonderful kind of message to give. Sometimes a lot of the letters that Paul writes are about berating or scolding these early Christian communities for what they were unable to do or not doing, or not taking care of each other and things like that. But the Church of Colossae, the Colossians, they seemed to get a better idea, a better handle on the gospel, and they become in some ways a model for other Christian communities to follow. And Paul begins to celebrate, that within them, that ability within them to do that. So a good way in which, again, to say, to take what it means to take seriously this faith. And if one does, one has the power then to not just keep the faith as a private possession or a community's possession, but something that then begins to shape and to affect and touch, the lives of others, other communities, other places, other people who dare to embrace the faith likewise in their own lives. In Luke's gospel, we now have the call of Peter. Jesus is along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, either the Sea of Gennesaret or the Sea of Galilee. It goes by different names. And he goes into a boat. It's during the day, and he preaches from the boat. I guess that belongs to Simon. It is the daytime, and you don't really fish in the day. You fish at night, or you fish, in the early mornings or whatever it is, because that's when the fish are biting. I guess during the day it's too hot. The fish are just asleep or whatever it is. And so he tells Simon and his other companions to throw the net over to the side and see what kind of fish you catch. And again, Simon isn't doing it and doesn't say it out of out of a put down, or out of trying to berate Jesus. Again, that we've tried all night, have caught nothing. We're not going to catch anything during the day, but he goes ahead and does it anyway because Jesus asks him to. So Peter isn't being disrespectful or anything like that. He's just stating fact. But when they do throw the net over, 1,000 million fish, are caught or whatever it is, and everyone's amazed at this. And Peter, in his wonderful way of overreacting to things, calls himself a sinner and asks Jesus to depart from him and things like that, mostly because he may think that Jesus is some kind of magician that caused all these fish to appear, and things like that, because that kind of mentality, is active, in that mindset at that time. But Jesus again just calms Peter down from his, exaggerative whatevers, and basically says, I'm calling you now to be more than just a fisherman, now to be a fisher of men and women. Again, it always is a fisher of men, and that's where you get the play on fishermen. But you're just not catching men; you're catching women and men, and bringing them the gospel and bringing the gospel. So James and John are also mentioned as part of that fishing crew that was a part of Simon Peter's life, and they also come on board with the proclamation that Jesus is going to undertake. Again, the sense in which God does not allow our what do you call it? So God does not allow our personal faults and fancies that we love to harp on, or whatever it is, our deprecative senses of ourselves, to get in the way of what God wants to do and what God wants to happen. He wants to call Simon, he wants to call James and John, he wants to call those 12 to be his companions, whether or not they think they're worthy or able or whatever it is. God sees something in them that God needs to use, and God will get to what God wants, regardless of if we're going to put up a front or not to stand in the way of it. And there you go. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.